And we have a very special guest with us today, Ms. Carla Major. Please welcome her. She is the VP of Human Resources for Harrah's. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to conduct it like an interview, but it's an interview with the whole class. So I have some questions prepared, but please feel free to jump in. Just raise your hand if she says something that sparks a question, or if we get to a topic that you have some questions about. And y'all, I don't think we need any laptops for this right now. So let's just listen. This will all be on videotape. If there's an important contact or something she mentions, you can write it down. But let's please close our laptops. Okay, I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on Ms. Major. Carla is a native of New Orleans and a business graduate of UNO. Presently, she is VP of Human Resources and Community Relations for Harrah's New Orleans Casino and Hotel. Carla has been with Harrah's since the opening of the present property on Canal Street in 1999. Prior to her arrival at Harrah's, she was the assistant chair of the business department at Xavier University. However, her most recent career was spent with Bell South in Human Resources for 18 years. Carla serves on a number of boards and committees in this community with a focus on education, which she considers a quality of life issue. Carla has received numerous awards and recognitions such as Young Leadership Council Role Model, Data News Trailblazers Award, and City Business Woman of the Year, to name a few. Additionally, Carla received the Harrah's Entertainment Chairman's Award for community service due to the number of volunteer hours given to this community. If you look, I'm going to just show you right here, these are all the organizations that she's involved in and around New Orleans, this whole bottom half, which is pretty incredible. So, in short, Ms. Major knows a lot of people. You may have seen Carla lately on the Access Channel serving as the chair of the City of New Orleans Board of Zoning. Once again, another volunteer opportunity. To name a few of the organizations in which Ms. Major is active, Xavier, Tulane, UNO universities, Council for Better New Orleans, Education First, Society for Human Resources Management, Council of New Orleans Economic Development Board, Better Business Bureau, Dollars for Scholars, Downtown Development District, Council for Better Louisiana. Anything else you want to mention?
No, that's enough.
And she balances this all while being a mom and a wife, so pretty cool.
Sometimes busy.
All right, can all of you hear both of us? Okay. Like I said, I'm going to start out with some questions, and if there's anything that triggers, just raise your hand. If I don't see you, just, make a little sound and I'll turn around. Okay, so Carla, please paint a broad picture for us of the types of careers available in the entertainment industry. What all is out there that these students might be aware of?
Well, I think there's a number of things that are out here in the entertainment industry. And I'll start off by talking general, and then I'd like to go into what we have at the casino, for example. But I think that in the entertainment industry, one of the biggest things we have going right now in the city is the film industry. There is so much happening in, as they call it, Hollywood South. There is a lot of different types of jobs. There's a lot of experience, internships that are involved with the filmmaking industry. I just think it's one of the biggest things that we have going now. When we get into the casino industry, we have entertainment in terms of, I think about the technicians that we have. For example, the AV techs, the people in marketing, the graphics, entertainment, the people that produce the shows that we have. Because we have a live theater and we have a number of shows. And matter of fact, when I think about Saturday night, we had Charlie Murphy, the comedian. We had employees to produce and prepare for that show, do the lighting and things of that nature. We have an employee talent show that brings up a whole lot of entertainment and talent. So I won't even get into the role I played in the employee talent show, but it was a fundraiser. So we do have that. But I just think there are a number of things in the entertainment industry. And we do refer to the casino as the entertainment industry because it is a form of entertainment for people in the community.
I was explaining to Miss Major earlier about your background as music industry students and how you all are learning, not necessarily to focus on monetizing music in and of itself, but attaching music to another product and selling that. And I think Harrah's is a great example of how they do that, how they attach music to the product that they actually are selling.
Yes, because we normally have jingles with commercials. We have them internally and externally.
With all the gaming.
Exactly. With the gaming, there's all different types of gaming. And, looking into what's coming in the near future, for example, as we talked about earlier, we have things where technology, well, you could be sitting in a club at a table and you can press the buttons at the table and place your order for food, or you can place your order for the type game you'd like to play right on that table.
So it's like a touch screen?
Right.
Cool.
It is coming soon near us. Matter of fact, we have it trialed in some places going on now. So that's all part of the entertainment industry and entertainment industry of tomorrow.
Keeping people occupied. Discuss some current industry trends, and you kind of already touched on this with film here, but how are entertainment industry career opportunities affected by the down economy these days?
I would venture to tell you it's affected just as any other industry. We still have volumes of people that come into the casino. However, their play is quite different than what it was prior to these economic times. For us, we're challenged in the fact that we have to have 2,400 employees on payroll every single day. That is a part of our lease. We still have thousands of people that come into the casino. We still have to offer that same customer service. We have to be upbeat and positive. But we do not have people playing at the level of play that they played, because let's face it, it is the entertainment dollar that we are, working with. So it has had an effect. I will tell you from the HR perspective, a lot of companies, as you well know, they are doing layoffs. We try to get very creative in terms of not laying off anyone. So we've reduced hours, but we kept them at full time. We've gone to 4-day work weeks, where people can work 32 hours and still be considered full-time, so we would not affect their benefits. We've put a freeze on travel. We've done a number of different things to work through the economy, but I will tell you the entertainment industry is not shy. In some cases, it could be worse because it's not something that people have to do. For example, you may have to go to the grocery, but you don't have to go to the casino. So it's how do you creatively deal with the economy is what we try to do.
Do you think that, this is just a side question, but do you think that in some instances casino attendance increases at all during a down economy because people are hoping to gain some extra income? Or
Absolutely, and I will tell you, I think after Katrina, that's a prime example. People were looking for an outlet that was safe and entertaining, and we had so many more guests following Katrina because people were so excited to be able to go someplace that was safe and fun and forget about the fact that they did not get the sheetrock today, or they didn't have light fixtures, or they were not at home. And people were also using it as a meeting place because it was a great place. I'll meet my friends. We can get inside and all the noise. There's no clock. We can just stay in here. No one will ever know, and have a great time. And so, yeah, people did use it as an escape route.
So you have sometimes more people, but they're spending less money.
Exactly.
Interesting. Outside of the casino, what, from your involvement in the rest of the community, what opportunities do you see are available in New Orleans, and what are the needs of the New Orleans entertainment community? A lot of these students want to be entrepreneurs, want to, find those needs and fill them.
Okay. Well, first of all, I will tell you that you as a student need to find out what it is you like to do, because when you say entertainment industry, that's very broad. But within the entertainment industry, what is it you like to do? Do you like to work with people? Do you like to sit at your laptop and be creative? Do you, what is it you like to do? I will tell you in terms of advice as well as what I've used in my own career. Determine what it is you like. Get very, very good at it. Tell everybody you know that you like to do it. And while the advantage of this city is that it's small, yet people think it's big, but it is small, because in this community, the best way to get any type of job is to tell everyone you know you're looking for a job. And I say that to you as a VP of Human Resources because everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knew somebody that knows somebody that need a person to take a job. And I can't tell you the number of resumes I get every day, and I have never ever met these individuals. But it's somebody that I know that they knew, or somebody's mama, or somebody's aunt. I mean, that's how this culture is, and that's what it's all about. So I think that is to your advantage, but you have to be careful though, because it can be to your disadvantage. Because if there's things that you're doing that are not good or up to par, that same information can be translated the same way within the same culture and within the same community. But I think it's very much to your advantage. And I think about the industry in terms of any other industry. What is it you like to do? And that is the first thing you need to identify. You know, because there are jobs out there. When I think about, for example, internships with Walt Disney, and Walt Disney has come to this community for years to seek people to come and work at Disney. And that is another form of entertainment. But before you can actually get into, for example, the job you may really want, you have to work the park to understand what it's all about. So what I'll say to you is, your first opportunity might not be the ideal, but it's a way to get in and to learn how the industry works, learn the people. You know, when I think about the film industry, you know, if you have the opportunity to sign up as an extra, sign up as an extra. If you have the opportunity to volunteer on any of the things, sign up, because that's one way to get to know what happens, how it works, and get to know some of the people that work there, and also to determine, you know what, this is something I really don't think I thought I would like this. I don't like this phase of it, but I like this. So that's an easy way to find out. We have a question.
Is there some like organized way to find information on what's available, like in the film industry around here? Do you know?
I wish I could tell you there was a very organized way, but you know, I'm sorry.
There's a group. It's not on LinkedIn. I think it's called Meetup. It's a group that was just search Louisiana producers.
Can y'all all hear what he said?
They email blast out like whenever they need like assistant PAs and stuff like that. Just send that email.
Say that again.
It's called Louisiana Produces.
Louisiana produces.
Okay, there you go.
Good to know.
You have the resource right within this room. Okay. But what I was going to say to you is, I don't necessarily know, organized resources, but I'll give you an example. They were filming, because my office is at Canal Place, and they were just recently filming on Decatur Street. Well, we had employees that just walked down there in that time frame, and they got to talking to people, and they were like, well, could I learn about this? Could I find out about this? Could you use extras? So they had an opportunity to literally talk with the people right on the spot. And the first question they got asked, okay, so how long have you been in New Orleans? As soon as they said, oh, I've been here for a number of years, or I've been here all my life, they were like, great. You might want to contact this person, or here's how you can find out more about us. So again, I say to you, which I wouldn't necessarily say to my kids, I would never tell them, I should say, but I do talk to strangers when she talked about that list. So in those opportunities, you want to pick your strangers, but you do want to perhaps have a couple of questions for them. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying be strategic about trying to network.
Absolutely. Networking is the key, because again, you will run into someone that may say, well, I don't know anyone, but you know what, I have a friend who knows somebody who might know somebody else that can help you out. And that's usually how it works. Mm-hmm.
And I think with the students that want to go into business on their own or want to be entrepreneurs, it's still key to network, for a number of reasons, but also to find out what is the need that's out there. Mm-hmm. What is it that people are wanting to have done that nobody else does?
And I think when you think about being an entrepreneur, you have to be prepared to work, to work, to work, and to work, because you will have to cover many jobs. You will think of yourself as a person in the Bahamas. Hey man, many jobs, because you are trying to make money. So you are trying to do as much as you can possibly do without having to hire someone else to do it, which means you have to learn business. You have to understand financing. You have to understand the legalities of the industry that you're in. When I think about human resources, I have to know about the laws pertaining to human resources. you need to know about the laws pertaining to entertainment, if that, depending on if it's music or if it's acting. You don't want people taking advantage of you. So you want to learn as much as you can about the business and the industry itself for you to be profitable in that area. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Any questions up to this point? Any more? Good? Okay. As an HR professional, what do you find employers are looking for in a candidate for the entertainment industry? What differentiates a candidate for the entertainment industry versus a candidate for other more traditional industries?
The first thing I tell you is you must be upbeat and positive. You must have customer service skills. I'll give you an example. At our company, we don't necessarily have traditional interviews. And that's what I would say to you. When you go into the entertainment industry, don't necessarily expect the traditional. Our interviews are set up pretty much like American Idol. And what happens is that you go online and you complete an application, and they do the normal initial screening, and they say, oh, okay, Georgia looks like a good candidate. Why don't we bring Georgia in? So she comes in and she goes through a better personality inventory is what it's called. It's a brief assessment, but it's to get an understanding of how you operate in the customer service world, because customer service is very, very important to us. So if you in fact pass that assessment, then you move on. If you have not passed that assessment, basically we say to you, well, how about you check back in 6 months, or we do have jobs that we call which are back of the house jobs where you're not interfacing with customers directly, and we can consider you for those jobs. But for front of house jobs where you're dealing with customers, you have to go through that assessment and you have to pass it. And so if you pass the assessment, then we say to you, how about you come back on Friday at 9 or 9:30? We will have panel interviews. And what happens is that we have 3 executives similar to this table that sit at this table, and we bring in the applicants for that week who have made it through BPI and initial screenings, and they sit in a circular form, just like we are in here. And so we ask them very non-traditional questions. We ask, for example, tell me your favorite candy bar and convince me that I would want to buy or eat one. So if you come in expecting a very traditional interview, you will not get it. You are going to get as we call it, the American Idol approach. So the panel members are there, and they're saying, well, this person never ever stood up to say good afternoon. This person never smiled. This person answered every question. I mean, we ask questions like, who might be your favorite performer, and can you imitate them? So we've seen many, many Michael Jacksons, let me say that. But it just lets us know we're in the entertainment industry. Our goal is that when the customers walk in the door, we want our employees to be able to entertain you. I can honestly tell you on the weekends that in the casino, we've done the bus stop on the casino floor. We just play the music at a certain point, and everybody just start dancing. We second line, we do all of these things. That is the culture and the community that we're in. And my goal as HR person is to embrace that culture versus tolerate it. And by that I mean we get involved with the culture of this community. So our employees will second line. We will, in Saints season, we will wear Saints jerseys. We do all of those things. So when you come to that panel interview, we ask you different questions that are not structured interview questions, but it's really to see if you're upbeat and positive. Can you smile? Can you entertain us? Because that's what we expect you to do. And so for those that really don't get it, we usually say, thank you so much for coming. Check back in 6 months. And for those that make it, then we have a big celebration with the balloons and clapping and all. And we at that point proceed to get the managers for the departments where they'd like to work and invite them to have their second round of interviewing. And then usually we'll take them on a realistic job preview, which means on a Friday or Saturday night when it's really busy in the casino, we will bring them into the casino and let them work alongside or shadow someone in that particular job. And it's the one that comes to mind most often is the beverage service. A lot of people come in and say, oh, that's no problem, I can do it. Well, they go to the realistic, and when they realize how much that tray actually weighs, it's kind of like, that's not the job for me. I might want to try something else. So, again, we give you the opportunity. We see you in action, and you can see it in action to say, this is not what I thought it is, or I can't wait to start. And then we have a week-long, it's called Entertain Our Best, which is really our onboarding. So we are very much focused on entertainment. But I say to you, try to study the company or organization that you'd like to work for so that you can understand what they're about and how they operate. Because I say, just as you would come in and think you're going to have a traditional interview with us, you would not. I will also tell you we only accept 50% of the people that come in. No matter how good the group is, we will only take 50%. So it is very much like American Idol.
Interesting.
It's different.
Do you find that that's common for companies to have a percentage like that?
Well,
does it
for
depend
us,
on-
we want the best of the best. So that's one way of doing it. And I will tell you that we have come to find that the retention of those employees are much better. So, again, you just study the company or the industry and look at what approach do they use so that you can be prepared.
Interesting.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it. I would like to sit in on some of those.
I'll
interviews.
invite you all on Friday. You'd like to come? Just
That'd
let
be
me know.
interesting.
Yes.
What is you already touched on this some, but what is the general process for applying for a job in the entertainment industry, and then more specifically at Harrah's, from finding the job to actually the steps that it takes to get your application noticed?
Okay. Well, just as I said earlier, I think the key is to tell everybody you know you're looking for a job, because you never know who may know someone who can help you to get that job. But prior to doing that, if you in fact know what type of job you're looking for, you'd like a job where you're greeting customers at the door. You'd like a job where, no, I'd really like to be back at the house with my laptop creating and leave me alone. You kind of want to know what you'd like to do, but then you go out and tell everybody you want a job. The reality is that social media is the answer for most things. I really don't know too many people that are advertising in a newspaper anymore. It's all about social media. I mean, you will find it everywhere, that's where the jobs are. That's where they're listed, per se, in terms of what has replaced, the newspaper, per se. And from there, go on and study the company. Do a little research on the company. Look at their web pages to see what they're about. See what they offer you. That's part of the difference in entrepreneurship in terms of if you own your own business, or you go into doing things on your own, what coverage do you actually have in terms of your benefits, in terms of a 401k? Just as I indicated to you, when the economy turned, as a company, we looked at how do we keep our employees. If you are doing this business on your own, how do you save yourself for those days? And you have to be prepared. So do the research on the company, understand the benefits, understand that there's some matching plan in terms of the 401k for you. That might not be what you're interested in this moment, but I guarantee you within 5 to 6 years you'll be like, it's free money that the company's giving me. I might want to take this. So that's the kind of things that you look for. And then once you've studied that and you go online in most cases and apply, then you prepare for the interview. I will tell you the biggest thing that you can do in terms of caution for a resume is spell check, spell check, spell check. The last thing you want to do is send a resume out with a misspelled word. And it happens every day. We see some of the best people and there's a misspelled word in their resume. That is something that is still looked at. So I promise you, don't think it's cast aside. Even though we get numbers of them, it's looked at. And we have some people that get the joy of putting a red circle who probably always wanted to be a teacher. So they get the red pen and circle it. So they point it out to people like me who probably would have so many who may have missed it. So you want to make sure your resume is up to par, because your resume is really what will get you the invitation to the interview. And the interview is really a match to see, does this individual fit our culture and fit our company? So that's why you want to know about it. And think back to, as I mentioned with Harris, if you did not look us up and know that we have the panel process, you'd come prepared, dressed in a three-piece suit, which is not necessary, but we don't allow you to come in jeans either. So you want to know those things so that you're prepared and you're not thrown off. Just know the company, know what you're interested in, and just be the best at it that you can be. And I say to you to network with as many people as you can. And if you can't find a paying job per se that you're actually looking for, but there's an opportunity for you to volunteer in what you think you like to do, take the volunteer opportunity, if for no other reason than to actually go through the motion and determine this is really what I want to do. And that, you've got to have a plan and follow your plan. And I say to you to follow up. You don't want to be a pest, take it from me, because I have some that call me every week. But you do want to follow up, because usually human resource people have a lot going on, and it's not just recruiting or it's not just employment, and they have people that do that. But I have a list of about, matter of fact, just yesterday, my assistant put it up, there's a list about this long of resumes that people have sent directly to me. So what happens is I will forward them on to our recruiter, but then I follow up with them to say, okay, what is the status of this person? Where are they in the process? Are they in the process? Did they pass? Are they coming in for panel? When are they coming? So I can keep up with what's going on. But just be prepared and know what you want to do and be flexible. And I say that, and I think about our industry, and the entertainment industry is very much like that. It's usually, it can be, I should say, a 24/7 business. And we often have people that'll come in and we say it's 24/7, it's 365 days a year. As soon as Mardi Gras comes, they say, what do you mean I have to work for Mardi Gras? Well, it's 365, 24/7. Oh, I can't do that. I'm riding in the parade. Or, I got to go to Tux. Or, I just can't do that. So you want to know about that, and you want to understand the flexibility that you have or that you're willing to have that job. So I'll kind of see if you have any questions. I don't know. It's a lot.
I think it's very common in the arts and entertainment industry. A lot of people, I graduated from this program, and a lot of the people, since I've graduated, that was kind of the first big shock, was that their weekends, that's like prime entertainment time, so that's when they were working.
Oh,
and,
yes.
I think that's something kind of.
That's what you're right, because most of our employees, the highest point in our industry is Thursday through probably Sunday night. And most people, that's the first question we ask: are you able to work the weekends? Or are you able to work nights? And just about all of the entertainment. While we do have a lot of marketing, promotional entertainment that happens during the day, a lot of it in terms of musical entertainment and things of that nature are in the evenings and on the weekends.
I think another, you kind of touched on this with the interview. Another question that I get a lot of times, I meet with a lot of alumni who are coming back because they're looking for jobs and they're, trying to do things that they probably should have done when they were students. And a big question that I get about interviews is, how do I talk about myself without bragging or without sounding cocky? What do people on the other side want to hear?
Well, I'll back up a second in terms of an interview. In a lot of companies, when you go in, there is usually a receptionist. So I really like to take a few minutes to talk about the role of the receptionist. Do not ever underestimate a receptionist. That person holds the key to get you into the interview. Let me assure you. In my previous life, I had a receptionist who just had the joy of believing she had this kind of control. And so what would happen is, if an applicant would come in, and I always think back to this one example, I had an applicant that came in one day, and she called and she said, your 2 o'clock appointment is here, and I do hope you have your sunshades. And so I was like, sunshades? And she said, yes, because she is dressed in a glow-in-the-dark yellow dress. So you might want to be prepared for this. Well, here's the applicant, no idea. She'd call you if the applicant, in her mind, she felt was rude or not on time. She gave you the whole story. I don't know if this is the person for the company because she was 15 minutes late. I don't know if this is the person for the company because the way he is dressed or the way he smells, that is your first point of contact. Do not ever underestimate the power of the receptionist, because her next question is always, okay, so would you like to be in a meeting right now? Meaning she was going to tell the applicant, sorry, Miss Major can't see you. Or would you like me to send this person back? And I'd always say, well, no, send him back. Because at this point, I was dying to see him and I didn't have the shades on. But anyway, what I say to you is always, always be courteous, because that person is the key to get you to the back door.
That's the first part of the interview, right?
Absolutely. That is number one. Or you may never make it to the back, to get the actual interview, to get inside that room. But I just think that when going for an interview, you want to be prepared and you want to be ready and you want to be able to speak about your experience, You want to keep upbeat and positive during the interview. You never ever want to be negative about a previous job or a previous supervisor, no matter what the case is. You never want to tell that. I will tell you, within the HR world, there is an HR world. And what happens is when we get an applicant, happens all the time. And all I have to do is call and say, well, you know, Georgia, I have an applicant here, Mary, who indicated that she worked for your company. Would you all be willing to take Mary back? I mean, if she, you know, if we don't hire her, if she says to me, well, no, not at this time, Mary is not the candidate I'd like to have. That's the code to tell me Mary is not the one. If she says we would love to have her back, then I need to go and get Mary, okay? So they will have the conversation. This is not in the books, but this is in the reality of the HR world. We have the conversations about applicants or about people to say, because the last thing we want to do is refer somebody and say, oh yeah, she's great, and then they get there and they become the disaster that they were at the previous employer. And we have to see that HR person at our monthly meeting and they say, yeah, so you sent me so-and-so, oh, just wait, you know. So you never want to get into that situation, but it's real. So I think you have to know your experiences and know your resume, because most of your questions in normal interviews will come from your resume. But know, again, what you're interested in, know what you're good at, know where your weaknesses may be, and know if, in fact, you've had challenges or weaknesses, how would you overcome those things? Because that's the types of questions that you'll be asked. If you don't have loads of work experience, but you have volunteer experience, it is equally as important as work experience. If you have, the key is experience, be it paid or non-paid, and that's what you're looking for. If you're able to say, well, you know what, I worked 4 weeks during the summer with the film industry, or I worked 3 weeks with, you know, in the casino industry, in the AV department. We set up all of the AV equipment, we set up all of the shows, whatever the case may be. But it's the experience that people are looking for. They're looking to see if you have customer service skills, looking to see how well do you get along with others. If you go in and say, well, you know, I got along well, but, you know, my supervisor had a problem, okay, that would be a signal. So you never want to tell the negative. You never want to lie, but you never want to tell the negative. If you've gotten terminated from a job, you want to say that. You want to say, well, you know, well, why do you no longer work here? Well, it was a mutual agreement that perhaps this was not the best place for me to be, or, you know, I was just a little immature at that particular job and I didn't realize. However, I've done this, this, and this. You know, I have these other things to add to it. So you want to be honest, you want to be upbeat and positive, you want to know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, how would you overcome a weakness, how would you overcome a challenge. You want to be able to give examples of success stories that you've had in terms of with customers, in terms of communication. Those are the things that are very important. Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to talk yourself up as long as you're telling the truth.
Right.
And you're not doing, you know, you're doing it in a respectful manner.
Exactly. If you sit there and say, let me tell you, I'm the best at, and you know I'm the best, and I'm the best at, you know, that gets pretty boring after about 2 minutes. So you want to be able to give successful, realistic stories. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say to you is also a caution is when you talk about references, if you're going to use someone as a reference, be sure to let that person know that you are using them, listing them, I should say, as a reference. Because if in fact the company decides to call that person and they have no idea you're looking for a job, you have no idea what they will tell you. And I'll give my own personal example. I had a friend of mine who was looking for a job. I didn't know she was looking for a job, but I knew that she was going through a terrible divorce. She listed me as a reference, and the company called and said, you know, Joan is applying for a job here, so and so and so. Well, I didn't know that, but I knew she was having a number of challenges with this divorce. So I gave absolutely no information because I thought this could have been something tied to her ex-husband and a divorce. I spoke to her that night and she said, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I'm applying for some jobs. I've been having some difficulties. And I said, oh, really? What seems to be the problem? And she says, I don't know. I seem like I'm doing fine. I list the references, and, you know, and the next thing, I just don't get the jobs. So I said, well, you know, who are you listed? And she said, oh, yeah, I really should have told you. I did put your name down. I was like, okay, great. So I've canceled one for you today. You know, find people that you know will know you, will speak positive, not exaggerate, but speak positive about you. And also ask them, would they mind being a reference? Should they be contacted? Mm-hmm.
Good point. What do you find is the biggest turnoff in an applicant?
I think someone that brags and brags and talks and talks and talks and talks nonstop, and it's like you can't get a question in sideways any way you try. They just talking and talking, or telling you all of the 99 people that they know. And I caution you, because it could be somebody that I know that I really don't care for. So it might not be a good idea to tell me about all the people that you know. And I caution you with that in terms of when you speak to employees that work at an organization or a company, and you say, oh, I'm going to go and apply for the job. You know, and this happens all the time. People will come in and they'll say, oh, yeah, well, you know, I know Bill, and he, you know, he loves this company, and he's the one that told me all about it. Well, I know that Bill's sitting on a final written warning, and any minute Bill will be out of the door. So you want to be careful about who you say you know, and using names and things like that in an interview, because sometimes it can work on the other side and not to your advantage. Mm-hmm.
So make sure you know the true character
Right,
of who you're.
right. You might want to know how well Bill's doing. Ask Bill how many awards has he received lately,
right,
before putting Bill's name out there. And you don't mean the final written warning award.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's somebody you want to be associated with.
Exactly, exactly.
How do you see community service? Obviously, you're very involved in the community. How do you see community service tying into the entertainment industry, which sometimes can be, you know, viewed as a shallow industry?
Well, I'll tell you, community service for me, and I said this briefly earlier, that I really do talk to strangers, and that's how I guess I get involved in so many different things. But as a volunteer, I volunteered for a number of events that happened in the city. And that's how I truly got involved and started understanding the entertainment industry. Because whenever there was a nonprofit event, I was involved in it as any way I could to make a difference, even if it was simply collecting tickets at the door. It gave me an opportunity to see how the production was done, gave me an opportunity to see who the guests were, gave me an opportunity to see how it all worked. So I volunteer with a number of things. Well, now it's, you know, if it's not fun, I just won't do it. But, you know, it gave me the opportunity to be exposed to a number of people in a number of different ways and a number of different events. There are some events that I'll say, well, that's pretty boring. I don't get to volunteer with that one again or be involved in that one. And there's others where it's like, it was great. I met great people. I've gotten great contacts. It's another good opportunity for networking.
So
really
it's good for yourself and for the organization.
Oh, yeah.
That
And
you're
if you can make that difference, it's always good. And to be honest with you, I think when people look at an application or a resume, these days, that's one of the things they're looking for. Has this person volunteered? Are they involved with green projects? You know, what do they think about our current environment? What are they involved in? What makes a difference to them? You know, we have, and most companies do, have a volunteer organization. And we have one, and it's Harrah employees reaching out. And I will tell you, after Katrina, one of the biggest things we did was help our own employees repair their homes. So you want to get involved, though, because you want to make the difference in terms of if you're working for a company, it's your company image that's out there. But for you personally, it's making a difference. But also in the case of when you're seeking employment, it's a great, great networking opportunity. I've met some really good friends through volunteering. Mm-hmm.
And in this city, there's so many wonderful, especially young professionals trying to get people plugged in, organizations like Young Leadership Council,
Exactly.
50 Forward.
There are a number of them, and they are all doing such great things to make a difference. Yeah.
Social Entrepreneurs of New
Yes.
Orleans.
Yes.
So definitely, if y'all are going to different cities, I encourage you to look into organizations like that. It's a great way to make friends.
Yeah, they have it in all cities. There's a need for volunteerism in every city in this country. So I say to you, especially if you're going into a new city, for example, and you may not really have the opportunity to know many people, that's one way to get to know people and to get involved. Mm-hmm.
One of the speakers who unfortunately was unable to make it at the, kind of the last minute this evening he helped start a group in Nashville that's a young professional in the entertainment industry networking organization. So you have to be, basically in your first or second job in the music or entertainment industry in Nashville to be a part of this organization. So he and a couple friends started that, which is pretty cool. So if you don't wind up staying here, or even if you do, and I don't know that we necessarily have an organization like that here that's specifically focused on young,
I don't think
people
so in
starting out.
terms of that. But what I will say to you is, you all are all bright students. You're here. You're interested. You're here tonight. Start your own group.
Right.
What's to stop you from starting your own group? You're here with people that you know. You want to make a difference. You want to make connections. Everybody knows somebody. So, if there's some way to get it going, you all start your own group. Why not? Why wait for somebody else to do it? You can right in here.
And I'm sure we would have some people who would be wonderful advisors.
Oh, they really do have some great people, I think, in the community. And I think there's a lot of much younger people, I would say, that are really giving back today that would be more than happy to assist. And you're right, when I think about Young Leadership Council, I did receive a Role Model Award from them, but I worked with them with a number of projects. I mean, they have Wednesdays at the Square. That's a perfect example to get out there and get into the music and get involved in giving back. We have a number of employees that do it every single Wednesday. I think they just love the idea of being in the Square and out of the job. But there's a number of different reasons, but it's also a great opportunity and a great contact. You have Idea Village, which is an organization that is looking for ideas for people that want to be entrepreneurs, to help them with their business plans and help them to get going. The Urban League has an organization, because I'm on the board of the Urban League, and there's the young professionals with the Urban League. So, there are a number of organizations out here that are able to help you or get you started or motivate you a little
Plug
bit
into
more.
mentors,
Right,
perhaps.
right. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Any questions about that type of stuff? Good. What else? What is the best advice that you received when you were starting out on your career path? Can you pick one particular thing?
I think the advice I gave tonight, find out what it is you really like to do and get very good at it, and you will be guaranteed to make as much money as you'd like to make. The key in it is to really find what you like to do. For me, I really enjoy working with people. I enjoy making a difference. So that was my goal. But you sometimes you don't find that overnight, and it's through different experiences, either volunteering or jobs. When I think about my very first job, I worked in the retail industry, and that has stuck with me because I'm truly a shopper. I will admit that. But I know I can buy the dog food, and I don't have a dog, but I'm into the retail. But again, it was finding out, what do I really like to do? And I really enjoyed working with people, really enjoyed making a difference. And then it was, what avenue can I take to do that? And how can I be really good at it? And I worked through different jobs. I got my certification as a professional in human resources. What all can I do to make myself better than I am today in this particular group, or in this particular job, in this particular area or industry? And I will tell you, when I first started working for the casino, I am a person that I don't normally game. My husband thinks I game every time I go to the mall, and he thinks I win because I come home with a bag. But I knew nothing about the casino industry, nothing whatsoever. And living in this community and having worked for a very traditional company prior to, for example, Bell South, and then, of course, Xavier University. When I said to people that I was working for the casino, and they were like, "Are you kidding me? What are you doing at the casino?" But the casino is truly a business. And I say to you that, we have accountants, of course, because we're in the money business. But we do have marketing, we have finance, we have marketing, we have cashiering, we have security. Of course, you all know the common jobs, the dealers, the beverage servers, the cashiers. But we have human resources, we have planning and analysis. We have all the departments that you'd have at any other company. So the advice was to truly find out what I really enjoy doing and what I really like doing. And I had a job early on in the engineering department, and I knew that was not the job for me because the graphs and the paperwork did not talk back. So I knew that was not it. I needed to pursue something else. And I moved from engineering into human resources. And so find what you like to do, what you enjoy doing, and then just really get damn good at it. And that's it.
I think that's important advice for our students at this, at this particular stage of life to hear, because you've about to be finished with 4 years of college, and lo and behold, your interests might change, or you might realize, I kind of want to do something different than what I just earned my degree in.
Yeah.
And you can still carry that degree with you, or shift your focus a little bit and still take the things with you.
Yeah, and you have different times in your life where you may have a job that this job is strictly to pay my rent. This job is to pay back my loans. Okay, but you still want to be the best that you can be at that job, because keep in mind, you don't know who you will encounter or who will observe your behavior on those jobs. This may not be your dream job. It may be the job you really don't care for. Just as I told you about the engineering job, when I worked in engineering, I really didn't care for it. But I encountered someone that worked in HR, and that's how I managed to transfer into the HR department, and I've been in there ever since between that and community relations. And, when you talk about getting involved in the community, how I really got to Harris was not HR. It was community relations. And I was working for my previous employer, and the community relations director said to me, I know you from being involved in the community. I mean, this could work. Why don't you just come and work for Harris? Because you see, you could just work in the community and you could do what you enjoy doing as a volunteer, but you could get paid for it. I was like, well, that wouldn't be too bad. But I really enjoyed the other job I had. Excuse me, I was working in HR. And so then the opportunity came for me where I was going to be promoted, but I had to move. And I didn't care to move because I had the fear that I would never find gumbo or seafood platters and Mardi Gras and all of those good things. So I was like, oh, I can't do that. I'll help my kids move, but I have to stay here. So I didn't move. And so the lady who had been pursuing me to work for Harris, I gave her a call and I said, well, you talked to me about coming to work for Harris. I said, can you tell me about it? She goes, oh, you have a resume? And I was like, no, but I said, oh, sure. I'll have that, no problem. I had no need in that point in time to have a resume. I was really happy with my job. So sure enough, I went up and I met her, and she said, fine, I have a job in community relations. I don't have it today, but I will have it within the next 2 weeks. Are you interested? And so I was like, oh, well, okay. And I had never had a job that paid me to be involved in the community. It was all based on volunteer work. So now you understand why I have high regards for community relations and community involvement. And so I got hired to work in community relations. And I worked as a community relations representative. I went out and gave presentations and got involved in the community. And then the casino went bankrupt. I went there after 18 years. I went there for 9 months, and the casino went bankrupt. And I was like, okay, so this is great. I now have this job that I thought was so fun and wonderful, and now I don't have a job. Okay. So I just went back and relied on the skills that I had, and I got involved with doing things back in the HR world, but still volunteering. And so when the casino reopened, they called me to come back, and I said, oh, I don't know if that's what I want to do. I said, now I'm working at a Catholic university. Do you know how many days I have off? You've got to be kidding me. I said, there is no way I'm coming back to 24/7, 365. Well, my previous boss showed up at my job. She had been calling. I kept saying, no, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can come back. I'm set on these Saint whatever holidays. It's all working for me. So she showed up one day and she told him that she was a parent of a student that I was supposedly working with, is how she got in. And so I just could not believe, when I tell you people at Harris are really creative, I mean, I just could not believe she showed up at my job. And she goes, well, I knew you wouldn't be able to release me if I did this. I was like, right. So I ended up going back. And at that point, I went back as the director of community relations. And once again, it was all based on volunteer work that I had done in the community. I had never had a formal job or career in terms of working in the community or community relations. I simply got offered the job after interviewing or having a conversation really with the general manager at the time. And he goes, no, you know enough people, you can change the image for us, because basically we had no image. There was no real casino industry, and then the image that we had at the time was not one that was great because, of course, the bankruptcy. So I got offered the job, and I said, oh, why not? I'll try it. I'll come back. But I managed to pledge to the students at Xavier. So I'd go back and do this kind of thing with them and hire them when they were 21, of course. So.
Oh, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
It's a
deal.
long way around to tell you. Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about your current job?
There are no 2 days that are alike. Sometimes there are no 2 hours that are alike in my job. Between community relations and human resources, every day, every hour is different. I can actually see when I make a difference and the results are there to show making a difference. And the opportunity, I think, to bring along other people and mentor other people to advance them. Mm-hmm.
So my last question was gonna be, what is a typical day like? But I guess there is no typical day.
Well, it is typical. I have no typical day, but I enjoy it because actually, again, to see the results that you make a difference in someone's life and that you can actually put that to use and get involved and really make a difference and help other people see how they can make a difference. So I have no typical day. Some days I start at 6, some days I start at 7 in the morning, and I'll go until 7 at night. Or some days I'll start at, like today, I think I went in at about 6:30, and here I am tonight. And that's just the way it is. But I enjoy it. I will tell you, there are 2 things that I do every night before I go to sleep, if sleep don't beat me to it, is that I ask, first of all, did I have fun today? Because I have reached a point in my life where if it's not fun, I just won't do it. And in my office, I'm known as the idea fairy because I think of all kinds of weird things for us to do. And did I make a difference today? And, once I can answer those 2 questions, then, I get into a deeper sleep. But normally, that's what I try doing every day in terms of what my goal is to truly have fun and to try to make a difference. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah, because if it's not fun, who wants to do it?
Yeah, what's the point?
Right.
What questions do you all have for Ms. Major? Keep in mind, this is a human resources professional, VP in the entertainment industry, one of the largest providers of entertainment here in New Orleans. So if you got a question about finding a job in the entertainment industry, this is a great opportunity to ask.
They all have jobs already. Yes, I'm sorry. Well, first of all, we're really not looking for a resume that's 5 pages long. That's out. So, if you can't get it all in like a page and a half or 2, then the first thought is this is totally exaggerated. And I certainly don't want to spend the time listening to this in person. No, thank you. Now, if you're my age and you have 3 pages, okay, I've earned it. But from a student coming in, the expectation is a page and a half to 2. I think that the key is to truly know what are the success stories that you have. Your best interview is when you can give examples. For example, if you say, I took the role as a leader of an organization or a group, that's going to represent leadership skills. But you want to be able to say, as a leader, our results were, or the success was, we were able to get 20 mentors for, 25 kids or whatever the case is. You want to be able to tell the success story. You don't need to go into every single detail, but you certainly want to be prepared to give examples of success stories in terms of what you've actually done with your experiences, be it, again, work or volunteer experiences. If you're in school, the expectation is that you have gotten involved in some organizations in school. If you are not involved in organizations, then you should either be working or volunteering. But if you sent a resume in and you were a student and you were not involved in organizations on campus, you did not have a job, and you did not volunteer, then you certainly should be a 4.0 student. But as a 4.0 student, what we are looking for as employers is really how flexible and what variety do you have? What do you bring to the table? And if it's strictly, I went to school, this is all I did, I'm really great, I went to school, I'm really great, I got a 4.0, that's good. But how well-rounded are you? You know, did you get involved with others? Mm-hmm.
Like a portfolio?
I would basically say I would say, depending on the job, if it's things involving graphics, then that's a good thing because you want to be able to show your graphics. But in most cases, it's always best to say, I have these things available if you're interested. Because what happens is if you come with all of that, and the recruiter really does not care to see all of that, or don't feel a need to see all of that at this time, then it's like, okay, so what are they doing bombarding me with this? But if you come and you say, I have a number of different things in my portfolio that's available, if you're interested, I'm happy to share them with you, I'm happy to send them back to you or what have you, then what happens is you're giving that interviewer the right to say yes or no at this time. And if they're interested, they will ask, you know, to say, oh, well, great, I'd love to see him, or not at this time. And the other thing I'll say to you is whenever you complete an interview, there's one thing that I would highly recommend you always do is say thank you. Send a thank you note. And at that point, within that thank you note, you can say, I do have a portfolio. I'm willing to share. If you're interested, please let me know. You know, so you can also include it at that point. But you always want to send a thank you note. Mm-hmm.
A question we get in regards to thank you notes sometimes is, would you prefer to get an email thank you note or a handwritten note? Because the email note will come right away, but...
Handwritten, and let me tell you why, because you will stand out with handwritten. We get so many emails, and I will tell you, for people in the role that I'm in, a lot of times my assistant is sitting there, and she has my calendar, and she has my email system. So she could get you a thank you email, and I may never see it. She'll say to me, oh, by the way, Gloria sent the thank you note today. Okay. You know, and some days, depending on how your assistant may be, my assistant would print it out and bring it to me. Others may say, Gloria sent the thank you note. If it's handwritten, it's going to stand out. And I can honestly tell you, the people that I've received the handwritten notes from, I have them. So it's different. It makes a difference.
Good to know. Anybody else?
So how many people here have a plan once they graduate? Show of hands. All right.
And just to get an idea, for your sake, how many grad school, couple grad school, and it's mainly law school? Anything else besides law school?
She hit something
Oh,
else.
music. And are you music performance or music education performance? She's a trombone player.
All right.
Peter. I'm sorry, not Peter. Pat. Internship in California.
Okay.
Very nice. What are other people's plans?
I actually have a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking to go into film and television, and so I've been looking around using resources like New Orleans Office of Film, and there's a number of different, but a lot of them will like list the productions that are going on, and they'll say send resumes here, but it doesn't tell you anything about what jobs they're looking for, or I have no idea like how to.
It's like going into a
send,
general
like, an email,
pool.
and it doesn't say like who you're contacting. You just be like send a resume to this email.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I don't know. Do you have advice for what I should put in the actual text of the email, or just send like?
Oh, you.
I actually had a similar situation, and in the cover letter, I put what I thought I would be qualified to do.
Okay.
I don't know if that works.
And that's what you want to say. What I would bring to your company is the following. I have skills in, you know, if it's Excel, if it's graphics, if it's whatever it may be, you know, in filming, in production. Example of some of my work, I've, you know, produced the films on campus, whatever the case may be. The other thing I would say to you, if that's the area you're interested in, you know, I would go to the local TV stations, and I would find out who the general manager of the TV stations are, and I would send them a letter. And I would send them a copy of my resume and say, you know, I am interested in working at your TV station. I would love to have experience doing what have you. Do you have internships? Do you have, you know, paying jobs, of course? And then if not, is there an opportunity for someone to mentor me from the TV station? What do you have to lose? You know, I mean, give it a shot. Give it a shot. For the other people that are not going to graduate school, what are you all going to do? Start a business. What type of business?
It's a consulting and marketing firm.
Oh, okay. So what have you done to get ready for this?
We've worked with 2 bands so far, because we basically work with bands that are experiencing growth plateau and design strategy to take them to the next level. And so we're working with 2 bands for free right now to kind of prove the concept, and we're going to use our results from that to start attracting more money.
Okay, great. Good luck. That's that creativity. I told you you could start a group in here. Okay. Anybody else? What else are you all doing? You all are not just going to
A lot more people raise their hands than.
Right. As a parent, you all are just not going home to have a happy summer. Come on.
I'm in a band and we're going on tour and we'll be singing records.
Oh, good. Good. Very good.
Concentrating on, although I'd like to find a job that has like some time flexibility to like help me with.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Just a
something
small
you could do
thing.
remotely.
Yeah.
Right, that
Like-
would be awesome.
Okay. Good. Anyone else?
I think
Mhm.
just to let you know, there are like some contract type jobs that you can do remotely. You know, I even used to work with a girl who traveled around for her company, like videotaping, like interviewing people at festivals, and that was part of just her contract thing, which would have worked well if she was in a band.
You know, and we're known for the tourism in this city. Contact the Office of Tourism. There's a State Department, and, you know, they always looking, as you indicated, for someone to video things or send a sample. Hey, this is, you know, I videoed this at the French Quarter Fest. Perhaps you all could consider using this in the next commercial. Send it to the French Quarter Festival Association, you know, an organization, and say, I filmed this during the fest. You know, maybe you all could use this. Please let me know. I just enjoy having the credits and the opportunity. Okay.
Anything else? Any questions about the process? I know we discussed it, but, you know, questions about opportunities. How many of you all want to stay here?
Okay.
A couple people.
All right, good.
About 50%.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it's. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, if I can answer anything, if I can help you with anything, please don't hesitate to ask. That's why I'm here tonight. So please feel free to ask me while I'm here.
Well, we'll.
Contact information.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
we'll
have a
stick
card,
around.
but I can give it to you. My number is 533-6028.
Thank you for giving that out.
Oh, not a problem. I will tell you, my assistant's name is Jessie, and it's a she.
And she's very nice.
Give you a little hint. It's a she. She is a she. She is not. You know, it's so funny when people call and they say,
Yeah,
"Oh,
with
I
the
was
name Jessie.
expecting," and she's like, "Nope."
Well, we'll stick around for a couple minutes if y'all
Sure.
have questions. Let's show our appreciation. For a couple of you all that might have come in after we started, I have assignments to give back to you from John. And if you have anything that you brought to turn into John tonight, I can give that to him for you.